game. It was pretty wild crowd reaction.
Good stuff, Jason. Good luck on your side of the counter, and thanks for the great behind-the-counter info, as always, bud.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the game.
Make sure to follow Jason Simbal on Twitter, @JSimbal. When we come back, we will get you our Joe's Angle of the Day, and we'll do some Friday previews of our own.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
Hello, friends. This is Thomas Johnson from Joe's Seafood Prime Steak and Stone Crab. Need a great idea for lunch or dinner? Your best bet is Joe's, one of the most popular dining destinations on the Strip. Joe's provides the ideal setting for private parties with accommodations for up to 150 guests. Stop by to see us at the Forum Shops at Caesars and ask for Thomas Johnson, your maitre d'.
And it has just gone final. Belmont misses a long shot to try and win the game, and we get a 79-77 final score. As Maryland survives against the Belmont Bruins, but they do not cover the spread, so that is now 6-0 for the Dogs. In progress games, Northeastern and Kansas, it is 37-28 early second half, 37-30 now, actually. Kansas on top there. And Murray State and Marquette, Murray State 33-27 at the last of the media timeouts in the first half of that game. And that gets us caught up. Joe's Angle of the Day, what are we looking at, Marco?
Well, Ralph sent us one in here, and this is a one for a total, and it involves Louisiana Monroe. When they are a home favorite, they are 22-3 to the over. Average line in those games was 142, and the average score in those games 82.6 to 74.7, 157.3. They averaged going over the total by 15 points in those games this year. The 3 games, Dave, that they didn't go over the total, they missed by a combined 10.5 points in the 3 games. So Ralph says take over in the Louisiana Monroe game.
We will look at some Friday matchups. We don't have a show tomorrow. A reminder that we're not on tomorrow. We're going to be watching the basketball games just like most of you guys. So let's talk about a few of the games here. And we'll talk first about that Oklahoma-Ole Miss game where former UNLV head coach Lon Kruger leads the Sooners in to face the Rebels. Ole Miss, one of the surprise teams this year, picked by many to be the bottom team in the SEC. Well, they sure weren't, and Kermit Davis named the SEC Coach of the Year. The game is very much a toss-up as far as the point spread's concerned, with Mississippi roughly -1 right now.
Dave, were you a little bit surprised at this number, though? Did you think Mississippi would be a shade more? Because, I mean, Oklahoma... Yeah. They don't belong in here. I don't care how you look at what metric. They should not be here. 7-11 in conference play. My only concern with Ole Miss, with me not, jumping on them in this one, is down the stretch, Dave, 4 of their last 6 games, they allowed their opponents to shoot over 50%.
Defense has not been good down the stretch.
No, and that's my concern, because Oklahoma can score, but I just don't trust this Oklahoma team. This is one of those ones, Dave, use the old phrase, if you put a gun to my head, which side am I going to take? I lean to Mississippi.
What about this game? Washington and Utah State, the Huskies, I think they would have liked to have done better in the Pac-12 tournament than have to leave with that disastrous game against Oregon. But it was a game where Washington knew they were in and Oregon needed the game, and sometimes that will happen in those conference tournament games. Utah State was really impressive. Utah State, look, they were in going into the weekend, and they still kept the pedal to the metal, if you were. And I was particularly impressed with how they closed out San Diego State in the conference final.
Absolutely. This team, they look like they were good all year. Don't get me wrong, right, Dave. But after that second meeting with Nevada, this team had a different swagger to them the rest of the season.
They really believe in themselves.
And they play defense, Dave. This is one of the best defensive teams in the country. They're a top 10 team. I'm looking at this one right now. I'm looking at the total, but I'm not going for the game. I'm going for the first half total in this one, and I'm taking the under. And here's why. You've got the head coach for Washington, Mike Hopkins. He brings in that Syracuse zone. Utah State's never seen that. I think they're going to struggle with that a little bit at the beginning of the game, plus the fact that Utah State plays such good defense. Washington down the stretch was not a good offensive team. They struggled, shooting 39% or less in 3 of their last 4 games. And the fact you're in an arena you've never been before, the first game jitters, that all adds up to a low-scoring first half. I'm going under 62.5 first half.
This next game this just smells trap to me. I mean, I'm just looking at it and going, boy, I just know. It's just one of those things, and I'm not going to bet it because I don't want any part of Arizona State, and I really don't want any part of the Pac-12. And Buffalo's really good. But boy, just looking at this going, I know the public's just going to bomb Buffalo in this game, and it's just nothing's ever that easy in this tournament.
No, Dave, but I mean, you look at it. When have you seen a MAC team this big of a favorite over a Pac-12?
Deservedly so, by the way.
Right.
I mean, they are clearly the better team here.
But most people haven't seen Buffalo play. They like to go up and down the floor. This is a team that can score. They were one of the highest scoring teams in the nation this year, 5th to be exact, 85 points per game. Where's Arizona State going to get the offense to stay with them? If they have any shot in this game, Dave, they have to somehow get the game in the 60s, upper 60s, low 70s. If it is in the upper 70s, 80s, they're cooked in this game against Buffalo. And we know the connection with Hurley.
Yep.
The Buffalo players, they got to be jacked. He recruited it.
Well, yeah, but I don't think Buffalo cares that much about it. I don't think Buffalo needs any added motivation. They're already going to be really fired up for this thing.
They are, but if I'm a kid that got recruited by Hurley and Hurley left, that gives me one more thing to put on the chalkboard. For me, it's Buffalo or don't play the game. I lean to Buffalo.
And let's look at a couple more. Oregon and Wisconsin, and you can make such a strong case for either team here because if you're going on the season-long stats, there isn't any question that you're going to play Wisconsin. You're just going to say, oh, well, this is a no-brainer, Wisconsin. But if you're looking at the other variables, the intangibles, boy, that's when it gets easy to look at Oregon because in one game you never know, but Dana Altman's a better coach than Guard, okay? And Wisconsin can get really one-dimensional at times where they just stand around and watch the big guy, and you wonder if he can even be on the floor in a close game late because he can't make a foul shot. And Oregon is red hot coming in. Their season was over when Bol went down. Mm-hmm. That's it. They're done. Maybe Oregon will get to the NIT, and even that seemed like a long shot. Here they are in the NCAA tournament, and the numbers going back to Wisconsin being the favorite. The early money in this game actually had moved Oregon to being the favorite. So I think this is just a great betting game because you can make a strong opinion for either side, and I don't know that anybody can ridicule either side of this game. So go ahead and make your play and see what happens.
I'm going to make the play on Wisconsin. I know Oregon, they're the now team, the flavor of the week. They dominated the Pac-12 tournament. They dominated down the stretch. They did it with a physical defense. That's good because their defense dominated a Pac-12 conference that doesn't play a lot of defense. They're more of a finesse conference. Wisconsin plays that style. They're familiar with it. They're not going to be intimidated by it. And I just think the Pac-12 was weak this year. I'm on Wisconsin. I think they win this game by 7 and 9 points. I think the run ends for the Ducks.
Current scores as we let's get one more game and let's talk Irvine, Kansas State because and this is one where I do think the injury could decide the game. Kansas State's offense runs through Dean. He's not their best offensive player, but the offense always goes through him. That is an enormous loss for that team. Irvine can play. The Big West sucks, but Irvine's good, okay? And my first impulse here was, well, Kansas State will win this game anyway. I don't know. And I'm starting to look at the other side as more and more of a possibility. I think that's how important Dean is to Kansas State.
No question. And if the Dogs keep rolling the way they did today, Dave, how much more money's going to come in tomorrow? Because Cal Irvine's been the popular dog from the onset. Everybody's betting them. They're the trendy dog. This is a team that won 30 games this year. But you said it. They did it in a weak conference. Kansas State's going to try to make this one of those ugly type games, get physical with them underneath, and make them earn everything that they get. I got the weakest lean to Kansas State. I wish I had Wade, but we don't. I still think that there's enough value there. I think they get the lead in the second half and may be able to pull away in the final minutes, but I think this is going to be one that's going to be decided late.
Murray State and Marquette have just gone to the half. It is the Racers with the 7-point lead. Remember, Belmont had a pretty good lead at the half as well. They did not hold on, although they did cover against Maryland. Murray State, however, leading Marquette 42-35 at the break. And we might actually have a favorite that might get the money here. Kansas has just hit Northeastern with a pretty big run, 8-0. And we have 15 minutes to go in that game. It is now 45-30. So Kansas with a pretty big lead in that game. And they are right now on track to be the only favorite that covers the daytime session at the NCAA tournament. We have not yet talked about Hockey Night in Vegas. The Golden Knights are at home against the Jets tonight. Big game. We'll talk about that next.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
Cliff Miller with me, Dave Koken. We're talking about what's happening at MJ Christensen at Boca Park. And let's talk about diamonds because they're a girl's best friend and they're also the most intimidating thing in the world for guys.
They see a GSI 1 carat and one's $4,000 and one's $14,000. And they don't understand why. That's why people are flooding into MJ, because we'll sit you down and educate you and help you select the perfect diamond for your occasion.
MJ Christensen, something special for the love of your life. Located at Boca Park.
Hey, it's Dave Koken with John Lyons from Lyons Physical Therapy. So, car wrecks, very frequent in Las Vegas. Sometimes serious injuries, some not so serious, but in a lot of cases there has to be some kind of physical therapy after the accident. Talk about that.
Yes, Dave. We as physical therapists can assess all injuries after a car accident. Sometimes we're the first person to see a patient, where we can identify the type of injuries the patient has. We will get them moving better, help reduce their pain, and we also work in conjunction with multiple physicians so these patients can be given appropriate medications to help with their pain, muscle spasms, and swelling. We can also provide any postoperative treatment in case these patients ever need surgery on their spine, their shoulders, and their knees.
LionsPTLV.com, 702-476-0222.
What's hot today? It's time for the Wager Talk Marquee Matchup of the Night with Marco D'Angelo. WagerTalk.com. Start winning now.
All right, tonight, big game at the at T-Mobile. I think they might be one zip code from each other. The Winnipeg Jets, who are on fire, are in town to face the Vegas Golden Knights, who are on fire. Golden Knights are the favorite in the game. No Fleury again tonight. He will sit out, and it'll be Malcolm Subban in the nets. And he, of course, has some spectacular numbers at home in terms of his one-loss record. And the Golden Knights, 9-1 in the Stone Age since the Mark Stone trade. Marco, they've won 9 out of 10. This is a good game.
It's a great game. And you know what, Dave? The other night, give credit to the Knights. They were in a horrible spot, and they went to San Jose and got a dominant win. When you see a team that's in a spot like they were, if there was ever a throwaway game, that was it. And they came to play. That's the sign of a team peaking at the right time. But you want to talk about peaking. Winnipeg, 4 straight wins, but man, are they getting the goaltending. In those 4 games, they gave up only 6 goals total in the 4-game winning streak. They're playing well right now. Couple stats for you. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights, which normally would be a disadvantage, you would think.
But not for them.
Not for them. They're 10-1 this season in that spot. And you've got a bad one for them. They're 0-7, though, when they're coming off a road game where they won by 3 goals or more. I just think this is too big of a number for as good as Winnipeg is playing.
That's price. They priced me out. Because I'm not going against the Golden Knights at home, and particularly in a game where they want to make another statement tonight. I mean, this is a big game against a team they could be facing. Who knows, for the Western Conference Final? I mean, it could happen.
But I can't lay 175.
Well, they're also trying to catch them in the standings for total points. So, no, I can't lay that kind of a price. So I'm out of the game, but I think the Golden Knights will win, and I'll look at this one strictly from a fan standpoint and say go Knights.
I will do the same there, but I think you'll see some advantage players just on the number late are going to grab some Winnipeg money. Let the public get it as high as they can get it and grab the Winnipeg money.
Time for our Lions Physical Therapy Play of the Day.
It's the LPT Play of the Day. Tonight's best bet from Lions Physical Therapy. Your 5-star rated specialists.
And let's talk about one of the NCAA tournament games tonight. We happen to both be on the same side of this one. So let's make it our play of the day, Marco. And that's the matchup featuring the Wofford Terriers.
Yeah, this is a team, Dave, that most people, if you're a regular basketball guy, you know how good this team is. But for the average guy that's just getting to March Maddness, they have no idea how good this team is, and Wofford is. And this is, for me, as much a play against Seton Hall as it is a play with Wofford. I don't know if Seton Hall has one of those stretches where they're struggling to score. This Wofford team has too much offensive talent for them, and they will be able to pull away. I like them in this one. I'm on them tonight. It's one of my plays that I gave my clients.
Wouldn't shock me if it's we see some some form of gimmick defense at times from Young, who can do that, and in an effort to make things difficult for Powell.